To Your Eternity is a show that is unfortunately drifting its way into semi-irrelevancy. Everyone rightly praised it for its fantastic first episode when it came out in spring of 2021, yet afterwards no one really seemed to be talking about it, and this is a shame because that first series is pretty amazing. The second series doesn't quite hit those heights, but still an enjoyable watch, and this is largely down to the same reason the first one was so good as well, the characters. Many of them have brilliantly realised arcs with some rather emotionally effective conclusions, which is why I can only apologise for the several minutes worth of piss-taking that I'm about to do, starting about now. In the live-action version of To Your Eternity, they will be played by The Rock. Living proof that Fushi has that dog in him. Thanks to him, we get an opening 20 minutes that will emotionally fucking destroy you, because how else were you meant to know that this is from the same author as A Silent Voice? Something about her dynamic with Fushi reminds me of Lilo from Lilo and Stitch, though she probably needed more than fucking stitches after getting hit by that arrow. She grew very attached to March when she was growing up. She was so fond of her that she actually ended up giving her crabs. Don't read too deeply into how I just phrased that. Fushi's equivalent of a new player vacuuming up all the good XP from an AFK player in an MMO. This is what happens when I can fix him becomes I can fix her. You know those logs fucked him up because being turned into a human bic lighter was somehow an improvement. The author really just saw the colour of her dress, took one letter off and decided that was going to be her name. I hope that this man's picture is next to the dictionary definition of the word geezer, because I want to grab a drink with him. A character named after the only part of their body that is covered. Gets called Mr. Black despite wearing green and being the palest motherfucker on the planet. Yeah, that checks out. This elderly lady in an era where the life expectancy is below 60 somehow managed to outlast literally everyone from the first season. Pilates really does you wonders, doesn't it? You gotta give it to her. She grew up without any education and then devoted 2 lifetimes to book tours. She certainly stuck to writing more than most English graduates. The way Fushi uses them is either to escape from a prison or to drop explosives from their talons. There is finally an anime version of Owly from the Big Les show and I am all here for it. I can't remember why she wears a bandana over one of her eyes, so I choose to believe that she does it so that every time she shoots a blow dart you can technically call it a trick shot. This man has the hardest name in the entirety of the show. There is no joke here. Fushi was quite disturbed with how enthusiastic this girl was to show him her knockers. He was also quite disturbed about the thing in her arm. He spends his time trying to conceal how horny he is for Fushi, while constantly receiving urges from his arm telling him to fiddle with his sword. It's no real surprise he's a teenager, is it? Finally, a name so long and so stupid that it gives Shinobu's full name a run for its money. We all know someone like Pocoa, by which I mean the one in the group project who says they're only here for moral support and yet spends most of their time shit-stirring with the members of the group. I have a feeling that when they said they wanted to be sat on by Prince Bon, they meant it a bit less literally, but hey, I don't know what they're into. A child who is seen as cursed by the Bennett Church because he was born with a terrible case of damn bro, you got the whole squad laughing face. Unironically, the only character who has their shit together in this entire show. She can only communicate using a pot, which reminds me of some of my old uni mates, because they also used pot as their primary means of communication as well. The last name of this illegitimate heir to the throne is Barster. Him being Alma's half-brother wasn't intended as much of a plot twist, was it? Fun fact, the only thing listed on him in the To Your Eternity wiki page is the fact that he died of over-consuming alcohol, and I'd feel bad for him if it weren't for the fact that I can't remember anything else about him either. The nun who raised him had all of her teeth pulled out just for giving him dentures. Now talk about it coming back to bite you. She would not have lasted a fucking second in Helm's Deep. Were it not for Fushi resurrecting them, they would have died just because they didn't understand the concept of a MILF hunter. In creating the molten cube, he may have inadvertently invented the world's first sauna, and for that, I'm sure someone's at least grateful. any chance of me taking them seriously went out the door the second I heard their name. I'm very immature.